elderly Catholic ladies are talking about their sons. First one says, "My son's a priest. When he walks in the room, everybody says father." Next one goes, "Well, my son's a bishop. Every time he walks in the room, everybody says, Your Eminence." Next one goes, "Well, my son's a cardinal. Every time he walks in the room, everybody says, Your Grace." Fourth one says, "My son's 6'3", in incredible shape, has the face of a GQ model and dresses like one to boot. When he walks in the room, all the women go, Oh my God." The cliche of love. I want to talk to you today about love. Not so much the cliche of it, but how it has become. Oh, thank you. Let's say this together. I am open to the evolution of my soul. Mine is alert. My heart is receptive. Hands up is here and now. Thank you. It's hilarious. You know, one of the things I'll be talking about today is changing habits. I'm working on it. So I started this class called Radical Heart Opening. And I am not a proponent of people who say you teach what you want to learn. I believe you want to learn from somebody who has mastered something before you walk in there. So it occurred to me I had to make sure that I mastered the work I was about to teach. That was an extraordinary moment and has changed my life extraordinarily in ways that I had not seen coming. I have, for the past 3 weeks now, not gone a single day without experiencing something in the way of awe that has brought me to tears. Every single day. And it's growing. This is not something that came over me like a explosion or this dramatic change. I didn't even notice it at first. It was coming on so subtly that I didn't even recognize it until I was a good week in. That, wow, I'm really changing here, because as I experienced more awe, I noticed that I was also becoming more loving. And then all of a sudden my wife's saying, "Geez, you really are acting different. What's going on?" Because all of a sudden I could feel my heart opening more and more of the time in ways that I had not myself anticipated. So when I walked into class, what I shared with them was my real experience, not some theory about what my experience should be if I did this. I'm here today to talk to you about the power of love, the true power of love. Not the kind of love we hear about in songs like the one Bob Dylan wrote, where he goes, "I could make you happy, make your dreams come true. Nothing that I wouldn't do, go to the ends of the earth for you to make you feel my love." I'm not talking about that kind of love. I'm not talking about the love you hear and watch in movies and songs that are all about winning love and earning love. So let's go to how the ancients thought about love. The oldest recollection I could find was the Hebrew one, and the word was called ahava. And the word meant to give devotion. Their word for love means to give devotion. Not to get something, not to feel something that actually already exists inside you, but to give devotion. In the ancient texts, this is the one that everybody talks about when they say, well, you know, the Greeks, they had all these different words for love. And one of them was agape, which means to receive unconditional love. It turns out there's this other word that kind of got lost in translation, which is agapeo. Agapeo is a verb. just the way ahave is a verb. It turns out the way the ancients thought of love was as an expression. So agapeo means to give unconditional love. It doesn't mean to receive it. It means to give it. Love in every ancient text is a verb. It did not become a noun until the 12th century, in the Middle Ages, where they would have grasped onto anything that even sounded good because they were so needy around how things were going. So it makes perfect sense that the word changed. Like many words, you've heard me here week after week talk about how definitions, the etymology of words and how they changed. Well, this was a biggie, to change the word love from a verb to a noun. So I am here today to tell you that when love is a verb, it is unbeatable. It is the strongest power there is, and it wins every single time. Now, it might not look that way when you look out and look at all the evidence that's going on around you. White supremacists, racism, killings in schools. But I'm here to tell you that love always wins. So let me give you a little bit of a history lesson to why I think this way. About 4,000 years ago, there was a man named Sargon of Akkad, and he was the Akkadian emperor. He was also known as the Great King for his famous conquests of Sumerian city-states. Sargon's vast empire included large parts of Mesopotamia, including parts of Iran, Asia Minor, and Syria, and he is regarded as the first person in recorded history to create, through conquering, multi-ethnic central-ruled empire which lasted 150 years. Now that could sound very impressive. Around that same time was this guy who was hearing voices. And these voices were telling him that his was the purpose of bringing forth a great civilization based in love, based in that word ahava. His name was Abraham. He was around the same time that this guy was building his empire. And in all the Jewish texts, when we look at all that stuff, when we look at history itself, when we look at the influence of the Hebrew traditions on today's world, how many of us feel the influence of Akkad? So what was the guy's name? Akkad of Sargon. Sargon of Akkad. How many of us feel his influence today? Not so much, huh? But Abraham. That guy not only birthed a religion and a way of thinking, he birthed two others that came later on. Influence is through love. What holds up is through love. Now, we get impatient as human beings, and so there's that part of us who starts thinking, well, I want it to happen quicker. Well, you can't fight fire with fire and think you're actually going to create something that doesn't feel very warring. If you are in need of love, if you are in need of change, if you are in need of something else to coming forward, then you are in a place of war already because you are going to conquer to get your need met. And conquerors don't make it over time. Those who fall into a place of expressing their love and devotion from the place of knowing the divine within themselves, those are the ones who get to move forward and actually make a difference that lasts millennium. Abraham's impact on us lasted millennium. Okay, so now we go to another great conqueror. Alexander the Great was the king of Macedon. By age 30, was the creator of one of the largest empires in ancient history. Around that same time, there was this guy sitting under a tree who grasped enlightenment and put forth 4 virtues. Those virtues being loving kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, and equanimity. Now, when we look at Buddha's influence today against the influence of Alexander the Great, whose influence holds up? Are we moving around thinking all the time, being influenced by what Alexander the Great thought? Or are we going around going, yeah, what we need in this world is more loving kindness? How many more people are turning towards that, are thinking more about that? This is what holds up over time. Makes me think of water, right? Water created the Grand Canyon. It did it over a really long period of time, but it was just water. It wasn't anything else. And yet we have this masterpiece called the Grand Canyon because of water. Love is like that. It's gentle, it's flowing, it keeps going, it never stops. It keeps going. If you are willing not to see it as a need, if you are willing to drop your thought that you need to get it, win it, this and that, or the other thing, because it's already inside you. You have it in every cell of your body, waiting to be expressed. And as we express love, we feel the love we are expressing. But when we think if we express this love, somehow it needs to be returned, somehow we need to get something back for it, then we have turned love into a noun, and it's now a need. But those ancient folks that still influence us today thought of it as a verb, thought of it as what we bring, what we do. Our founder, Ernest Holmes. Love, his definition of love. The universal urge to express the self-givingness of spirit. That's what we have here. That's what's possible. Compassion, joy, love. The greatest empires throughout history are gone. But what has survived is these ancient teachings of love. Now, here's the thing about this. I know that these religions have, a lot of ridiculous dogma, a lot of people who get militant about it. Though, when I was thinking about this morning, I was thinking, I don't know that I've ever run into any militant Buddhists. But Christians and Hebrews and certainly Muslims were up to Julius Caesar, one of the greatest Romans of all time, put together an amazing empire, stretched from shore to shore. Well, around that same time, there was this guy who was walking around who was preaching love, named Jesus. I'm sure you know that. And today, even though we love Shakespeare's play and we think of et tu, Brute, we don't really carry that into our daily lives. What do we carry into our daily lives? That was 2,000 years ago. And what we carry into our daily lives is the teachings of love. And again, sure, there are folks who take, militant white racists and all these people who have killed in the name of Jesus. And sure, there's always going to be radicals who misinterpret stuff. That's just what happens. Who think that they know something the rest of us don't, when it's really the quieter, gentler voice inside us. When we let that loud, aggressive voice win, it's only seasonal because time proves it out. Where what's real is the deeper, gentler voice that feels like water, that's gentle, that's flowing, that's bringing us forth into a greater sense of loving kindness. That's bringing us forth to a greater sense of the beauty of who we are and what we have come here to be. There is something so gorgeous within us, and I'm starting to see it more and more almost every day. It brings tears to my eyes when I just think how beautiful life really is, the awestruckness of the love that is built into each of us, that we can bring forth. You see it all the time. It's available to us every single day. You could be looking at the mass murders, you could be looking at the horrible things that are going in the world, or you could see the underlying need nature of it all that keeps moving forth, keeps moving forward, that is actually pulling us, urging us along in this gentle, gentle nudge. So around the time Muhammad wrote the Quran, there was this other guy called Attila the Hun. Attila the Hun took over all Asia. But his influence, compared to the Quran, not so much. This is what we need to be looking at. Perspective is key to shifting. It all starts with awareness and perspective. I'm giving you a perspective here because it can be really hard to get stuck in the news, to get stuck in what is offered today, to see what is brought forth in this moment, and to feel like, no, there's a lot of horrible things going on in the world. Well, I'm telling you that it is proven time and time again that no matter how horrible things might be right now, it can't last more than a season. That the only thing that lasts over time is love. Hitler took over all of Europe. And around that same time, there was this little brown guy named Gandhi. Nobody thought much of him, but he knew through love that India could be freed from the British. He knew it. He just knew it. And people laughed at him at first. How are you going to get the British out without firing a shot? He's like, we can do this. I believe. In fact, he used to quote Jesus' teachings as much as Hindu teachings as he was creating his movement, as he was creating a life of love that allowed for the British to finally get it and leave. And then it moves forward, and there's Martin Luther King who's studying Gandhi, who's saying, this is how I'm going to get the Bill of Rights through. Not through warring, not through putting up my fist and fighting, but through standing in love and knowing that that truth rises. And so we have a Bill of Rights. Now, does that mean there isn't more work to be done? I'm not sitting here saying everything's perfect, everything's great. I'm simply saying that whatever's going on, love wins. It wins every single time. It cuts through everything. There's just nothing about it that it can't win. But we have to stand. We have to stand in that truth that is ours. We have to stand in what is rightfully our known beingness on this planet. And that's our expression. That is our expression of love. That is who we have come here to be. So when we express love, it comes out not only in our relationships, but our work. Those who express love through their work experience a much higher level of satisfaction than those that don't. Here are the words of Kahlil Gibran on this. And what is it to work with love? It is to weave the cloth with threads drawn from your heart, even as if your beloved were to wear that cloth. It is to build a house with affection, even as if your beloved were to dwell in that house. It is to sow seeds with tenderness and reap the harvest with joy, and even as if your beloved were to eat the fruit. It is to charge all things you fashion with a breath of your own spirit, and to know that all the blessed dead are standing about you and watching. Work is love made visible. And if you cannot work with love but only with distaste, it is better that you should leave your work and sit at the gate of the temple and take alms of those who work with joy. For if you bake bread with indifference, you bake a bitter bread that feeds but half a man's hunger. And if you grudge the crushing of the grapes, your grudge distills a poison in the wine. And if you sing, though, as angels, and not love the singing, the muffled man's ears to the voices of the day and the voices of the night. Are you working with distaste, or are you weaving threads of love? Our love is expressed through our thoughts, feelings, actions, words and actions. Thoughts, words, and actions. That's how we're expressing love. That's what we bring forth. One of the newest things I've started doing that has been incredibly powerful for me is if I'm upset at someone, I immediately and as soon as I can go do something kind for them. That to which I am upset with. That is changing me. It is changing me faster than any other psychotherapy or any other thing I've ever done in my life, is my willingness to express love in the face of being upset with someone or something. It will change you. It will bring out something new in you that you may not even recognize. And I know that sounds crazy when you're upset with somebody, because whatever they've done has certainly been a trespass. Some need of yours has certainly been trampled. But there is something greater going on here. No conqueror in history will last, will outlive love. Love wins every single time. But if the love you're talking about, Taylor Swift, there's no time for tears. I'm just sitting here planning my revenge. There's nothing stopping me from going out with all your best friends. And if you come around saying sorry to me, my daddy's going to show you how sorry you'll be. Not exactly the love we're talking about here, but the love that is expressed more times than we can count, right? Every romantic comedy starts with somebody wanting to get or earn or somehow find love. I mean, movies are made constantly around love as a need, as a noun. So of course we go around thinking, oh, I got to find love. If only I had love in my life. You do have love in your life. It's within you waiting to be expressed as work, as what you do for your relationships, as what you do for those around you. You have the love already in you. This is incredible stuff around this. And I love the way this is an excerpt from Kahlil Gibran on love. Love has no other desire but to fulfill itself. But if you love and must needs have desires, let these be your desires. To melt and be like a running brook that sings its melody to the night. To know the pain of too much tenderness. To be wounded by your own understanding of love. And to bleed willingly and joyfully. To wake at dawn with a winged heart and give thanks for another day of loving. To rest at the noon hour and meditate love's ecstasy. To return home at eventide with gratitude, and then to sleep with a prayer for the beloved in your heart and a song of praise upon your lips. Love is the answer to everything. We trivialize it in our society, and we lose the power of what it really is. There's something so dramatic and powerful and knowing and moving forward, moving our civilization forward. Love is what has done that. The building of the cathedrals, the building of that was made in love. I mean, I know that, it's easy to see the suffering of people through it all, but there are things in this world, pieces of art, the Sistine Chapel, that you just look up and it's pure love. This is what is within each of us. You are not Michelangelo. You are who you are. And what you bring forward is important. And what you bring forward is built in the love that is within your expression. It is always possible to bring forth love. The Dalai Lama tells us, be kind whenever possible. It's always possible. When we bring forth love, our lives shine, and those around us, their lives shine. When we express, give the devotion that of the original meaning of havava and agapeo, the things that people were thinking about when they first thought of love, the verb of it. It can be expressed through you no matter what the situation, no matter what's going on. If you are sitting back feeling you have a need that's been trampled, a need that isn't being met, you have lost the focus of your attention on the love that is you. The love that is within you, the love that expresses. Do not be distraught by what you see in the world today. It is a season, it cannot last. Only love lasts. Every conqueror throughout history has shown us they are a season. Love is what makes it through. Love is what will carry us forward. And the more we want to be on that ride, all we have to do is express it within us. Thank you. I love you. Take out what you're going to give. Hold it in your hand. Open it up. Don't crumple it up. Open it up. Because this is power. This is God itself. This is presence. This is power. When you take it out and you hold it in your hand, you are giving to life that which you want to receive. That is the law of circulation. So you want to take it out and hold it in your hand and not have it crumple. Don't crumple up your own power, your own godness. Let it out and let it flow. And let's repeat the affirmation together. God is the source of all supply. Money is God in action. What we give, we receive multiplied abundantly. All that God is, I am. And so it is.